Hello, and welcome to The Boring Show! I'm Emily Fortuna, and with us is a special guest.
I'm Shannon Skipper with Square.
So today we're going to be shifting our focus to a different app. If you have ever tried the Flutter Gallery demo app, one of the demos within that demo is called Shrine. It's a shopping app. And I pulled that out. I made it a separate repo on my GitHub repo, which is eFortuna. It's called Shrine with Square. And so basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding in-app payments to that shopping app.
Yeah.
And Shannon is going to tell us how.
Absolutely.
So, so first of all, here's our little Shrine app. We're not going to log in for now. I'm just doing the basic thing.
Perfect.
You can click on things, add them to your shopping cart, and right now all you can do is clear cart. So I think the next obvious thing is to add a button that's like, take my money.
Pay me.
So I was poking around a little bit. Shopping cart is this page here. Oh, I should actually say one other quick thing. Also, this app is featured in some of the material code labs. There's like a four different material code labs that all help you build out this very app as well. So it's many different ways you can reach this app. But yes, okay. So we've got here's our button for clear cart. It is a fancy button. I guess since the gross thing to do would be to copy paste. Let's not do that. How about we pull this out into a function?
Nice.
And then we can have our text. Although, so it'll have our text and our onPress method.
Keep it dry.
Yes. So I think there's a shortcut for this, but I don't remember it, so I'm not gonna do it. Pretty button. And we will figure out what we're passing in a second. Turn that. We need our model. Okay, so pretty button. And let's pass in model. Or wait, how? This code base is a little bit new to me too, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. So we have this model. Is it scope model? Great. So we don't actually need to pass it in because, so we need our context. I'm gonna pass it in for right now because that's not the focus, and we will come back to fixing up state management afterwards. So, scope model, app state model is what we want. And we'll pass in model. And, okay, so that's that. And then let's add our text that we want to add in.
Okay.
So string text.
So the original one says clear cart, and we'll add
Yes.
something like pay or checkout. Or,
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So cut that, pass in text. Why is that not? Oh. Oh, it thinks it's constant, right. Okay. No longer constant. We will pass in clear cart. And we also want to pass in our function for what we're going to do, because that will change depending on what we're doing.
Nice.
So I will cut that out and we'll say action. Function action. And we'll pass it in. Great. Okay, so that's button 1. We didn't change anything. We will. What are you doing, Shannon?
I'm exploring I was looking. I was just trying to figure out what these buttons are. So.
The raise button, or
No, like checking out what state what state it needed, and then what it took the string, and then you got ahead of me with that it needs the function. So
okay. Cool. All right, so we've got everything. Let's add our second function, the function that brings the money.
Yay.
So let's wrap this in a column.
Okay.
And we can put, we could have our buy button up top and then the clear cart button just below it.
Nice. And so with a column, it doesn't need to be like fixed positioning. It'll float or?
Yeah, it'll just, we'll see.
Okay.
But I believe, this is wrapped in a positioned, but I believe it should work. We might need to tweak it. We will find out.
Nice.
Okay, so nope. Why? Okay. There we go. So wrap with column. And we are going to, let's stick it below, or no, above. And we'll say, take my money.
Nice.
And nothing happens. That's awesome.
Uh-oh.
Go away. Hot restart. Did my computer... Don't seem to be doing anything. Let's try again. And here I thought I had just been coding so well up until this point. So it was just not actually running or something. While this is loading up, you were looking at some GitHub pages, like documentation about that. Do you want to?
Absolutely. So I was looking at the InApp Payments Flutter plugin documentation, just to see how we initialize the InApp Payments SDK with our application ID, and then what we do when we click this button, which is the payment part, where it's going to put up on the screen like a pretty credit card, and we can customize that. We probably should match it to the app.
Nice.
And then when the user puts in all their card details, their secrets, instead of getting those secrets back, so we have to deal with the PCI compliance or that sort of thing, it's going to give us just a one-time use nonce. And so that is basically this card in a one-time use, secret key that we then will pass to the Square API to either make the payment or save the card on file with the customer, which is a really more flexible way to do it. We just need to tell the customer, do you want to save this card? And if they do, then we can go buy more Shrine shopping cart items.
Yes, more clothes and things.
Make it easy for the user.
Nice. Okay, so this is up. Let's see if this is working again. It's got that. Take my money is available.
Oh, nice.
But let's see.
The function works.
Well, I don't know why it hung there, but
just thinking about it.
What's going on? My app isn't defined. Oh, that's the test thing. That's not. That shouldn't be a problem. What? Let's try making a change somewhere else. I'm very confused. Add some exclamation points, because what could go wrong? Okay. Well, we're off to a great start.
It liked extracting one button. It just didn't like the second.
It didn't like putting it. It didn't like hot reload is what it didn't like.
Oh.
For some reason.
Hmm.
As we build again, what would be? I mean, this shouldn't be causing a problem. I'm just gonna clear our testing so there's no problems. Okay, so we have Shrine. We've got our entry point. Part of this problem is my lack of familiarity with this app.
Yeah.
We're figuring this out together. Let's see, username. This is where I should, I'm embarrassed that I am not a, I'm going to do search on command line, so get username for our login. Get grab username. Login.dart. I'm just testing hot reload.
I am just trying to do the non-dry copy paste the button just to
okay.
make sure that works.
It's not reloading. What's going on here? So it's not. It's also not. I wonder if I have some weird setting on VS Code because it's not even attempting. Like normally here it would say like it'll say something along hot reload. Let me try launching this from the command line and if I could also try from Android Studio.
See if a Flutter run works.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if I just somehow borked my Visual Studio.
Oh no.
This is very mysterious. So, okay, so we've got our username, question mark. Save it, do hot restart. Okay, so it works from the command line. There's something funky in my Visual Studio Code. Maybe I'm just gonna try restarting it. And if that doesn't work, I will go to Android Studio.
Turning it back off and on again should always work.
Look at you! You've already got your like.
Well,
Meanwhile, Shannon is like dashing ahead here.
I just copy pasted the button. That's not fair.
No, but you had the payment flow too.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I will try loading it up one more time.
I'm trying from Android Studio just to see.
Okay, so username and so we got that question mark. Now it works.
Yay.
So I'm just gonna say Visual Studio Code was in a weird state, I think. So we add this because we're gonna spend $120 on a backpack plus shipping.
Okay.
And we've got 2 buttons.
Yay.
All right.
Turning it off and back on again worked.
All right. So so we've got our buttons, and right now though, Take My Money is going to clear our cart. So what do we do, Shannon?
Okay, so we need to trigger the check out the cart or take my money function, which I guess we could put it with the other model items or define it wherever. But we basically need to.
Yeah, I should pull this out so it's not like this huge thing. Let me. Payment. Just make a payment function. We can do what we want with it.
So I'm looking at the Square Flutter plugin in-app payment quick start docs.
Is that this one?
Let's see. That is that one.
Okay.
And checking out the main functions. Actually, I think there is a link to the methods at a glance. It's in the in-app payments Flutter plugin. See, in-app payments Flutter plugin, master get started.
Is it this one?
It's under master. It's under doc reference dot markdown.
There we go. Slightly different page. This is the reference dot markdown. Okay. Methods at a glance.
Okay, so at a glance, we have set Square application ID. So we'll need to like do the declare a feature for that, and then like put it somewhere where it can. We could do it on every like pay me, but we could also just do it once because it's like if we were changing merchants or something fancy. But assuming we have just like one merchant, one location, or one area here, we can just sort of do it up front.
Would you? You were saying changing merchants. Would it be more changing payment, like who's handling the payments though?
No, not really.
No?
It's more just like if you had, for some reason, like let's say it was Etsy, or you had like multiple different sellers who were on the same shrine. But since Shrine is like, let's say one company selling,
right.
I think when we could do it like along, we could just like call the feature along with the start card entry flow, which is sort of the let's take a payment. So these are the two functions we need to call: set Square application ID and start card entry flow.
So application ID is kind of like a
initializer type.
Yes, but also like a words are hard. The like seller ID sort of.
Totally, yeah. It's your ID for your app. I guess you could have multiple apps, but it's basically like this is Shrine, and like here's our ID in Square's API.
Okay.
And then the start card entry flow will like make the magic happen.
Okay. So string set application.
So let's see. So in this.
So how do we get a Square application ID?
Okay, so you go into basically there's a link for like step 4, get your Square application ID.
Okay.
We can skip this since like we're not like hitting the back end right now. We can just put like test application ID.
Oh, okay. It won't like error out if you're.
That's a good
garbage.
Well, I guess that's a good question. Maybe we should use one of my Square application IDs.
I mean,
let's start with just like
we can test.
Yeah, let's start with just
happens.
like application ID as the ID.
All right, so
when we really make a payment, it will then be like, wait, that's not an application.
Okay, so we need to define. Do we need to add like our pub spec and all that fun stuff?
Yes. So we should have to add. Okay, here it is. We add one dependency, which is the Square in-app payments plugin. And it's Square _in_app _payments.
Which I feel like I'm on a different page than you. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Are we on the right? Are we on the same demo? Get started. There's a couple different get started. Okay.
Okay, so copy that 1.1.0.
And then the uptick is like a permissive versioning. Like, does that let you?
It's basically anything up to the next major version.
Gotcha. So if it was 1.9.0, it would still do it. Or we could just like pin it to 1. Okay.
Yeah, if you have nothing, it'll just be literally that. But like this allows for like minor bug fixes so that
semantic versioning.
Yes. Exactly. So we got that. Okay. We're running Flutter packages git, and then we will import once this.
Yeah, that should be it for getting the plugin available.
So import package Square. Why is it not?
Looks like we're just doing the even steps. It's like step 3, step 5, step 7.
What are the odds?
Odds, yeah.
Okay, so we got that. What did I just saw red. Oh. Because there we go. Okay. And Yes, all right. So now we've got our garbage.
Sweet.
Okay, so now we've initialized our app, and now we want to, as you said, make the payment. So
Okay, so that is on to step 7, implement the payment flow. So we need to import the Square InApp Payments.
One quick question.
Yes.
I saw in step 6 there's like configuration stuff for iOS, Android. Do we need to do? Is there anything?
There's no like it inherits from like a common sort of like normal sane configuration. So
Great.
it's not going to match our app. We'll probably want to tweak it.
I see.
But I think we can like make it happen and then
Got it.
see how it looks. And,
Okay, perfect. Okay, so sorry, you were saying.
Oh no. So let's see. So we basically define the on start, like we define an on start entry flow future.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, this doesn't have the function that we actually need to call, which is the one from that markdown. Let me find it's the start card entry flow. So it displays a full screen card entry view, and it takes 2 callback parameters, which correspond to the possible results of the request. So I think we should define like the pay me function, and then call the start card entry flow when we that basically should get us going.
Okay. So, just call, is this asynchronous or anything, or are we just good?
Yes, it should be asynchronous. Let's see.
I get, my question is, do we need to await, or is it whatever? We'll wait. Okay. Start card, entry, flow. Possible results. Example usage. Okay, on success or on cancel?
Right. So on cancel is just if you sort of click the back button and I changed my mind. I want to add something else to the cart.
Okay.
And then the on success is the function where we got the nonce back, and then we want to do some processing. So like the Square InApp Payments will validate for like this couldn't possibly be a credit card, or like that date for expiration is before this one. But then you'll want to hit the actual API with that nonce and your payment information to make sure that like billing address and other things correspond.
And just to clarify for everybody, a nonce is your sort of handle of like, this is the valid payment and attached to this payment, so I can kind of follow it through? Or?
Exactly. So what happens is when we call the function to bring up the like Square payments, all the information that the user types is securely transmitted to Square, and then Square like returns to the InApp Payments a nonce that stands for those secrets.
All that stuff. Got it.
And so you get back a nonce, and then you get back sort of the publicly available information. But that nonce is super important because it's what allows you to then like send that nonce along to your backend server, and then use that to either store a card on file or to go ahead and immediately make a payment. And it's just a one-time use nonce. So we get this, like we basically are asking them to like put in their card secrets, and in return we're going to get back the secret key nonce.
I see. So yes, that should give you confidence that if you use Square Payments, you are the people that are writing apps don't have access to all your credit card stuff. They just have this nonce, so they're not storing it and potentially leaking it elsewhere.
Right, and you're not able to see the secret information, so you do then get out of the PCI compliance because it's not like available to you.
Got it. Okay, so so what do we want to put in our on card entry nonce request success?
Okay, so let's see. Let me pull up the method definition for that. On card nonce. So we'll basically want to handle two different possibilities. Yeah, you have it right there. So we'll want to like take the nonce that we got back and then like validate it against our server, because we want to like check that the prices were right and that everything is kosher, and then we can pass that nonce on to Square APIs. You can use whatever language you want on the back end. Use one of Square SDKs to just like, here's the nonce along with like the card we'd like to add on file to the customer or the payment we'd like to make. And then this is going to, if it's the happy path, then InApp Payments complete card entry will like let you can sort of finish up. Like we'll want to like show an invoice or clear the cart or something. Like you don't want to like buy it again.
Yeah. You're like goes into vaporware. You're like, did it
but
work?
Then on exception, so like if we get an exception back, then we won't be leaving the card. Like we'll stay in that card entry, and it will let us give a message. Like that zip code doesn't match what we have for you as a customer.
Yeah, you don't want to clear the form. Pay attention, web form creators who do that. Oh my gosh, it's so annoying. Sorry. Rants.
Yeah, exactly.
Over.
We leave them. If we popped out of the form, then they would have to, when they come back in, be like, okay, I'll just change the one. Oh no, I'll be re-entering my whole credit card.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna just copy this. Oh wait, we can.
Yeah, I think that is a good like template placeholder for.
And we don't.
Yeah, so the on exception portion is really what do you want to show the user that when they're not going to be leaving the Square credit card entry. Just, hey, you can.
Okay, so for starters, let's just say we'll just print out success maybe here.
Perfect.
Success. And then, card details. I guess
yeah, the card details. I think we could like print out the result dot nonce, or I guess we get Dart type pending, so it should give us some of the functions available.
I think import. There we go. Okay.
Nice.
What's going on here? Isn't
I think it wants.
Oh, is this another import thing? Start card entry flow. I don't. At least on the docs, I don't see.
Oh, where start card entry flow
is defined.
Is defined. Let me pull up the example app real quick because I think it's defined on the plugin.
Start card entry.
Start card entry flow.
Oh, is it InApp Payments dot?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought if we imported it, it would be there. Okay. All right. So there
that
we
should
go.
Work.
So there's that. And then you were saying like we can have like a maybe a snack bar or something appear with the error message, or like what do you?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. Yeah, the show card nonce processing error like gives you that thing to display, and then we can go and customize the look of that. But yeah, this is that calling that show card nonce processing error is the hook to get.
It does. Oh, okay.
Like, to get into the.
Why is it not like message? I copied that from the thing.
Does it think that an exception doesn't have a message?
So it should.
Should, right?
Gosh. On exception. Yeah. This. Oops, not that.
We could just say something in there right now, just like oops, or actually in the processing error. Okay.
I mean, let's just try printing out the string because
nice.
it should yeah, the string version should have the error message, I think.
Perfect.
Okay, so now if we try paying, things should happen, yeah?
Hopefully. If we, yes.
Okay.
Calling start card entry flow should work because we've set up our Square application ID, so we told it which Square application, so
Oh boy.
fingers crossed.
Exception.
Oh.
Okay, so missing plugin ID. So it doesn't like garbage.
It doesn't like the garbage entry. Okay, that's
Shocking.
it's like something is amiss. Okay,
Turns out garbage is garbage.
So let's get it a real application ID.
Okay, I'm gonna kill this because it'll be unhappy with the.
Okay, so I have a bunch of application IDs. It's really easy to make one. You basically just click on your Square developer portal, and then you just say like new application, and then you can click on the ID. And
Okay, so just to tell people a little bit more, like you go to the Square website.
Yes. So let me pull up the plugin. So it's like I think it's step 2 on the guide we're following. Let's see, where is it? Lost my tabs. Getting started guide. Before you start, create a Flutter project, add InApp Payments SDK to your project, configure a dependency, get your Square application ID. So it's open the Square application dashboard, which is just our main developer dashboard. And so I'll sign into that. And then we have, so like you can just click new application, we'll type our application name, Shrine, create application, and here it is, our application ID.
Awesome.
So I will shoot you that.
Okay. All this will be grayed out because nobody wants to read my email. All right, so we're back with the real application ID. Okay, so now, what is build failed? Oh gosh. Okay, let's try again. All right, so we've got our application ID. So that sets that up, and it's like I'm gonna make a transaction with Shrine on the Square servers. Oh, geez.
Okay. So we have like.
Why didn't this happen before?
I guess it didn't get far enough along to see that there was a version mismatch.
Is this in my Androids? I'm gonna pull up the iOS simulator.
So
just for grins. So what you were saying, is there something
I
else?
think that the demo, the Shrine, might be penned to a version.
It could be old.
Earlier than what InApp Payments, since it's a fairly new plugin.
Let's move it.
Yeah, can we move the Shrine version forward?
Yes.
Awesome.
So is it this version min SDK? Yeah. All right. So yeah, we've got 16, and it says we need 21. Let's try that.
Awesome.
We will hide the iOS simulator for now.
Fingers crossed.
Oh yes, Android. It's weird that didn't happen before.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, go away. Run. This episode is full of fun technical difficulties. So Shannon, have there been funny bugs in the process of implementing this whole thing?
Oh yeah, actually some versioning. Like I was the other day I didn't realize I was on Flutter Master, and was like, it doesn't work.
Too bleeding edge.
Yeah. I was like, oh wait, I should probably go to like Flutter beta, and it worked.
Or the release, yeah.
Yeah, really even better, stable.
While my computer tries to blast off to the moon.
Yes.
You can hear it. I guess it's working on all that.
Okay.
The Android SDK version thing. Okay, so it's built. So that's better, except it's a white screen. There we go. Back to where we were. We're going to buy an overpriced backpack. Take my money.
Yay!
Oh, yeah,
Awesome.
Look at that. Gorgeous.
Sweet.
So now I can enter some garbage numbers and it will tell me there's an error.
Yes. Well, so actually, I might not tell you there's an error, but it should do something.
What should I do? Do we want to test these success?
I would say let's try out just like trying entry, because there are like Flutter animations and out of the box that should. Okay, so that's just like so it's just like, I don't recognize that card. So if you try like a 411 or like start with different numbers, and it should like auto detect the card. Oh wow, that's a long. So try like 41111, the canonical credit card example. Yeah, so it's going to detect your card if it's an Amex or MasterCard or Visa, and then
expiration.
And then it's doing like validation here, but it's just like, this is like for possibilities. This is a permissive. Yeah, so like that's too old to be possibly valid, so it's like giving me a newer date. And your CVE, or okay. So now so this is where that back button in the upper left is the like on cancel callback.
It's like,
and
actually, I don't want to buy an overpriced backpack.
Yeah, and then the check mark is the yes, we're going forward, and then like basically the entry worked. So now it's up to you to then take that on card nonce request success, because we're going to get the nonce back here. And then it's up to us to then, oh, nice, success. Yay.
Success. So now, but why is it just spinning?
That is a good question. What do we have defined right now under card OC? It should be calling, because
we did this.
So we need to add the bit that tells it inside of try. The InApp Payments complete card entry. So basically, it's just gonna. It's
animation.
It's just the animation. It's not going to yield until we tell it.
I see.
And the idea here is that inside that try, you get to choose if you want to throw an exception, and then we can like not leave this modal. And so to leave the modal, you have to get like into the happy path of complete card entry.
Okay.
And then we can define the on card entry complete function for any like cleanup we need to do. It's sort of like, we're leaving the modal now.
Okay, so on card entry complete.
Yeah, and so we can name that one arbitrarily, and it's just like, our own.
Oh, there's nothing
business logic. Yeah, it doesn't have any.
It just calls it, and that does the closing thing.
So the whole InApp Payments plugin is basically the ability to launch this card entry, so people can put in their card, and then we get the nonce back, and then you can stay in the card entry if there's like errors that you want to like let them resolve. But then on when you finish, you get into the complete card entry where we get to clear a cart or show an invoice or whatever the user feedback we want to give from this worked.
Okay, so I probably need to like.
Nice.
Do a full restart though, because.
Yes, I think it was like, oh, we're not ever leaving this.
Okay.
Okay, and that's awesome. So you did an anonymous function for the print yay.
Yeah. So this is native code here, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this hot restart, like nothing's gonna work.
Yeah, while we're in this, it's sort of like a black box of we like don't look at what the card entry is when it's not possible to, because that way you're spared having to see the secret information of the card. So
okay, so we will rebuild, and I can enter that stuff again, and hopefully it will close the dialog as my computer takes off again. All right. Backpack. added. Take my money.
Yay.
So 411, you said?
Yes, the 411 is sort of just like the four and then ones is the signal that this credit card is just a placeholder fake.
Okay. 99999. Too many nines. There we go. All
Okay,
right.
so this should, yep. Yay. So we're back.
Sweet. So now, I imagine on the Flutter side, so we want to kind of return like a value that says like success or whatever so that we can handle it, handle the UI. Because like,
Yeah.
this is here, we don't want it to be like,
So
why is the backpack still in my cart?
So we'll want to do that probably in the try before we do the complete card entry. So we basically the on card not success is going to be we successfully got back from the card entry and we now have a result.
Yes.
And so the result, I think if you do result dot, it should be, I can't remember the name of the two. It's like nonce is really the like what we're at after here. And then so we take that nonce and we can then like send it to our backend and have it send it on to Square API to put it on a customer card.
Wait, sorry. And you say our backend. This is Square's?
Square's backend.
Okay.
So we have SDKs in Ruby, Python, PHP, Java, C#, etc. Or you can just use our API directly to basically hit the like new card for customer route, and you give it this nonce and other information you want to send to us, and then we can save a card on file. So it just has a card ID. So when you want to then recharge, like if they come back and want to shop again, you can just charge that card ID and customer ID. So I think I know that I was poking around in Shrine and I saw that sort of the data backend right now is spec'd out as like a repository. It's just like a Dart file that returns the data. So we could probably do like a similar pattern of like a payment service or something where we like give it this nonce and then it would act like the server that you're gonna have the real customer data in.
The server for your app, not
yes, the server for your app. So the normal path is you send whatever came from the mobile app, you send that nonce and like the information to your backend, and there you can check things like it's just like with a JavaScript form. You're like, is this a valid like shopping cart? Like, are we willing to send you this? And also then you have your secret token like on your backend, your Square token. And so which
is different from the nonce?
It's different. That's just your like it's like an OAuth token type. It's your bearer token. So you keep that secret on your server side.
Okay. And
then when you like inside of the try, we get our nonce, so we can like call a function that's going to like put the card on file, or charge the card, and that will like go to your backend server.
Your
backend server calls Square
to actually do the charge.
Yeah, to actually do the charge, and then returns to your mobile app.
Got it.
Either the exception saying like, "Hey, actually stay in this card entry," or the success, and then the card entry, the complete card entry, can go forward.
So here's maybe a dumb question. Say like, I don't care about like, I don't know. First, I'm trying to think of a service where, like maybe like games where you're like buying pixels on your like local. Say you have a game that's like entirely local. I guess it would be a similar thing to what we're gonna set up here, where you just have your Dart stuff and it's all stored locally, or the
problem there. You can make the HTTP request, but you can't securely store your bearer token like for using the Square ecosystem payment APIs like on the mobile app. Yeah, just because of security reasons, you wouldn't want to have people be able to like go into a debugger or like pull out those codes. So you just don't want to put your secrets in it. Just like you wouldn't want to put it in your JavaScript. It's like somebody can dig in there, even if you obfuscate it, it's there.
Yeah.
So it's sort of better. Usually, like people most often have a backend server that's doing some functions, and you can set up a super simple path here, just like, send it the nonce. And
Got
have
it.
one pathway that's just like hit Square
Got it.
APIs. Now we have a secret key that they can't get at.
Okay. It's obvious that I don't do payments. I'm like, why do I keep it local? Okay, cool. So as you're saying, though, for this, since we don't really have a backend, we're going to have...
So we could even we could either extract it to a function, to like a service, like we sort of have like the fake backend for
Sure.
the
do
shopping
that.
cart items.
Yeah.
Or we could even just like at first even do inside of try, just sort of like comment out either we raise an exception or we presume it to be successful.
If you're willing, let's stick it with in the back end.
I think that's nice
Yeah.
because it's where the app currently is getting its source of data truth, and
Sure.
and that's where you do the same thing, you know.
Yeah. So where is that?
That is a good question. Okay. It's in the model directory.
Okay.
And it's the projects repository.dart file, I believe. So this is where it has all of the Vagabond stack and Stella sunglasses and Whitney belt, etc.
Oh my goodness, look at all those products.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yes, all right. So would we just want to have another class? Or would we want to call it into the products repository? Probably another class, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe a like payments repository or
Sure.
payments service.
Great. Payments repository.
And just like in reality, the products repository would probably be doing like an HTTP request to a backend to fetch those products. The payment service would really be doing an HTTP request that passes that nonce on.
Okay, so this would normally
And-
be on the server as your backend.
And we have like a Heroku one-click deploy for like spinning up a backend, but it feels like this, like it's in the right place here since our source of truth is the model.
Cool. Okay, so what should I stick here?
Ooh, that's a good question. So
This is just like we just have a function that's like receive nonce.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we can call this like something like actually make the charge.
I like it. Yeah.
The charge and takes that nonce
Perfect.
and secrets. I can spell secrets here. Is there anything we actually want to do here to like help?
I mean, I think we could.
simulate?
Well, yeah. Why don't we? Like we could. I mean, I guess the two things you can do are like not raise an error, in which case,
Done.
So we've done it. Or the other case is we could raise an exception, and like that exception message is going to be the user feedback, or at least how we have it wired up right now, is going to be the user feedback they get inside of that card entry field. So this is like saying hitting the server and us saying like,
There's a problem.
yeah, there's a
with your-
problem with whatever it is that we learned. Like, yes, this is
Your
a valid
credit card
card.
was declined.
That would be a problem. Your credit card was declined, or there's a problem with the zip or something. So maybe we could do like a random chant, like have this function be
I randomly introduced that. Okay.
like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have a 10% chance of getting an exception.
So import
Yeah, how do we do random?
Dart math.
Nice.
Let's just say random equals random. And random dot next, I think, yeah, next bool.
Oh, nice.
And so if random dot next bool,
Oh, that's fancy.
we can,
I love that way of, like, instead of being like, if it's less than 0.5.
yes. Okay, so this is, what do we, just raise an error? Or
Yeah,
would we return a string? Because, like, if this is a server, like,
It would
pass an
be,
error
yeah, it would be,
message back.
exactly.
So let's have this as a string, I guess.
Yeah.
It would be like JSON in practice, I think. And
Totally.
then
Yeah, you'd be sending your HTTP request to your server, which would be hitting Square API, and then like getting back a an error code that it would just sort of just be passing back to the mobile app.
Right. Yeah, I guess it would be a number.
Right. Yeah. Or you could on your server like
Message.
translate that number to the message.
Okay. Well,
it's your choice whether you sort of handle it on the Flutter end or on the server end.
Okay. So credit card was declined. This
Perfect.
is not the best like checkable error messages, but you know, return success. Great.
Perfect. I like it.
So we don't want that private. That would be sad. And then shopping carts, we're going to say payments repository dot actually make the charge, and we have to import that. Let's see if this works.
I think there's a missing paren.
You're right. There we go. And this is unhappy because.
Ooh.
Oh yes, we want this to be static. Oops. Get rid of products. Because
okay.
there's no need to make an object version of that.
Totally.
Static. Oh. yeah. Great. Okay. So now we've got this string that we would check. So our results equals that, and then we might say like if result is not equal success.
Nice.
Then we would throw our error, yeah?
Exactly.
So throw new. I'm just gonna do error, and I'm gonna pass the result.
Is error the sort of standard error class?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait. Yes. Okay. So. Yes, but you can't pass a message to it. I think we need a more specific error.
Gotcha.
How about
one that takes an error with an error message?
Yeah, argument error is not good. What else is good? Where are our subclasses? Okay. Assertion error. Unsupported error? Remote error, maybe? Let's call it remote error.
It's remote. Of sorts?
Yeah. Let's do that. Remote error.
Didn't happen on this mobile device.
Okay. Why is it not like results? Oh, because we did it again. Results. Charge results. Okay. What is this? Oh gosh. Maybe this is the wrong stack description. Ugh.
Oh boy.
Okay, we don't want that. New error. State error? It's not the best, but we'll call it that. Technically, we should define our own, but we're not going to do that right now. Okay, cool. So that's all implemented.
Nice.
Now we say take my money, and we have to do this. Oops, no W's in the zip code. Oh my gosh.
I guess it doesn't balk at that because it's like some zip codes might.
Sure.
What depends on the country.
Okay, so.
So, I expected that to.
Well, partly, okay, so I think part of the problem is I need to do a hot restart because I declared this whole completely new class. If you have stuff that, and because this is the native code, I'm going to just like kill the app.
Nice.
Okay, try again.
So when you create a new file, it's hot reloading files that already exist.
Yeah, basically, anytime you define like a completely new object or like hot restart, you can like add things to existing objects, but it can't just like create new objects out of thin air.
Gotcha.
So yeah. So tell us more about, while this is loading up, fun in developing Square plugins or fun Square bugs.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the InApp Payments where you want to have like users pay on their own mobile device. And so we also have fun where you can use your mobile device or your mobile app with our hardware. So that's the Reader SDK.
Right.
So that one has a lot of fun where you actually on that one just tell it the amount, currency, and that's it. It then like wakes the reader up via Bluetooth, and the user pays, and the SDK itself sends the like nonce along with the amount and currency and does the full round trip back to your app. So it's designed a little different. The in-app payments is really about like popping this user interaction and giving you back a nonce to handle the way you like, whereas the in-app payments is about using our like Square hardware, the little dongle, or our various readers. So that's definitely been fun to make the like multiple Flutter plugins.
Nice. This is still hanging, so when all this fails, use print debugging.
Nice.
Guess we don't need.
So it's like, was our payments repo called?
Yeah. Why would this be? So the card entry flow, try action charge.
It should work. Results nonce is just a string.
I could also use breakpoints, but old habits die hard.
Oh, print-based debugging is the best.
Okay. So.
Got our card.
Sure. About to make the charge.
Okay, so it got, and it printed about to make the call, or no?
Yeah. Is it? Do we get here?
Good question.
This is the downside of having this thing be a native view, is like we have to keep restarting if we're trying to debug this part.
Yes, that's the prickly portion.
Let's see here. If charge result does not equal success, throw our poorly used state error. We complete card entry to close it. Otherwise, if there's an exception, which this should be, then we should see that.
Yes, maybe it is working, and exception to string, because like it should be like showing us the issue. Like it shouldn't be leaving the modal if there's an exception. So I guess.
But we should also see this print statement.
Oh, we totally should. That. You're right. No, you're right. Yeah.
So there's something strange going on here. 411.
So you have to get to the point of the ones where you switch to the twos.
You know what you guys need?
What?
Is a to be able to like pass debug or something where it's like auto-populated with this like.
That would be
garbage.
Good. That would be good. Save you from pressing 41111. Where are your one key? Hey, okay. It liked that one. No, is this? So that was a yay.
Yeah.
So on the not, that could be that our roll. So maybe it's not working on exception, or maybe the starting over fixed it.
So
randomness.
Yeah. I'll try one more time just to see if we can. Or actually, it's in the native. I can't hard restart. I was gonna say let's force it to take this, but we will keep going. About to make the charge.
But it's not.
I need to put. I bet it's hitting this. But why is it? Why is it failing so spectacularly, not going to our error? That's the question.
It doesn't seem like there's anything happening that should hang it. If.
Let's look at our. Maybe.
Is this?
Maybe because we're catching on exceptions specifically rather than errors as well.
Is state
I
error
bet
maybe
that's-
not an exception?
Yeah, so there's, yes, I bet that's it. Yeah, yeah. So exceptions versus errors. In fact, maybe I should be using exception, but I think we also shouldn't be saying only, we should catch on anything.
Nice.
So just say catch.
And fewer characters.
Yes. And maybe we'll stick with error. I think, well, okay. What do we want to call this? We'll call it IO. No, it's not an IO exception. Okay, we'll stick with error. But yeah, I bet that's exactly the problem.
Gotcha.
So we will step through this one more time.
Yay. Okay. So that's the way that you can communicate without the user having to
Perfect.
redo. Awesome.
And so then you can go back and you've got your thing. Yay!
Yay. Nicely done. That's awesome.
Okay, so let me take out my print statements. If we have just one more little thing we can do, I think on the success we should clear this guy out. We should clear our cart.
Yes.
So we can. Should we return here like a Boolean success failure here?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
And then we can call model.clearCart.
Or we could even, I think it might be even nicer to where we have the print yay, just have it call a function.
Model.clearCart.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. App state model, and I know I'm abusing this model. I apologize, people. Model.clearCart. Great. Okay.
Or could we even give it clear cart as the on cart entry complete?
Oh, did I mess up this state model? Oh. Sorry, you were saying?
Oh, I was just wondering if we could give it the name of the function to call for our on cart entry complete.
Oh my gosh, yes, duh. Please. Thank you. Phew.
And get rid of the anonymous function.
Yep.
Oh, and then it would be, and would it not could we omit the model dot and have it just be clear cart?
I think we need
it.
the clear to cart
Okay.
needs to be is access through the model.
Oh, right, of course, yeah.
So, okay. So add our bag. Whoa.
Oh.
App state model dynamic is not a subtype. Oh, payments. Did I? But I thought it was very vague on what my action function could be. Unpressed. Oh, okay. Yep. All right. So the problem is, pretty button. It's expecting this. It should just call this with no parameters, but this payment thing has this.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna do a quick fix here. Pass in model. I have to make this a function. And I will, that other function that we're passing in, we will just not use, we'll use underscore.
Nice.
Okay. And this should be the last thing. 4111111. Okay. Can we try again?
Okay. Awesome. Woo!
Well done. So we have added in-app payment flow to
Yay.
our app.
And then we could, with just some configuration, match the color, match the font, affect the error color in those modals and everything.
Oh, nice. And that's on these pages here.
Yes. There's one in particular that has a nice graphic. of
How do we get to that page?
It is in the InApp Payments SDK cookbook. I sent a link to
InApp Payments.
and it's the customized payment form.
Oh, I think I saw that.
And it's just nice because instead of a bunch of text, you get like the picture of the form with arrows showing you what to set for each of the.
Nice.
Yep, that's it.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Shannon. Is there any
Thank you so
last
much.
parting words you want to share with people?
No, I think if consider Square for online, in person, or in-app payments, and definitely try the in-app payments with Flutter.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing us how it works. We will see you again in 2 weeks.